Hmm. Let's see how to solve this problem. Basically, what you're being asked is you have to make a given. You'll be given an array in which you have to select whether you if you want to pick an element or not for every element. So what you'll be doing is you'll be taking a subsequence in this array, and you have to pick such a subsequence such that it is in an increasing order. Like you cannot take 3 1 because it's not an increasing order. You can take 1 4 or 3 4, and what and we need that subsequence to be as long as possible, like it needs to contain maximum number of elements. So this is a standard problem. It's called longest increasing subsequence. The straightforward way of doing this is simply generate all the subsequences and check whether it's increasing or not, and if it's increasing, store its length, I mean keep track of the maximum and just print the maximum. Yeah, doing this will be enough for a small input like around 20, because the complexity of this solution will be exponential. If you want to be able to solve it for a large input, like for an array of 1000 elements, we'll be needing a different approach. I'll explain that with an example. Yeah, this is the example I've taken. These are the indices of the array, input array, and these are the elements. And I have marked the numbers which form the longest increasing subsequence in this array. In this case, the length is 6 and the numbers are 10, 22, 33, 50, 60, and 80. Now, one thing that you need to see here is, let's take the longest increasing subsequence of this. Now, the last number in this is 80. Let's put it aside and have a look at the remaining subsequence, like these 5 numbers. What you can see here is this subsequence here must be the largest increasing subsequence in this part of the array from 0 to 7, because if there was a sequence longer than that, simply we take that and put 18, select 80, and we would have gotten a longer subsequence. So what I'll be doing here is, whenever I see a number, I'll check. I'll already be storing the longest sequence that I have found for the previous positions. Like when I'm checking for 9, by then I would have already calculated the longest sequence for 22 and 10. And if any of those numbers is less than 9, then the answer for 9 is simply 1 plus the answer for that. And I'll take the maximum. So if I do this for all of these arrays, for the first element, there aren't any previous elements that I have to check. So the longest sequence at this position is simply 1. I'll be storing this in a separate array. So the answer for this is 1, and then 22. What I'll be doing is I'll check all the previous elements, and if the previous element is less than this, only then we can join this to the subsequence at that and get a new subsequence of a longer length. So I'll check the elements, and 10 is less than 22, and the longest sequence with 10 is 1. So the answer for 22 will be 2, 1 plus 1. Then 9. Now when I take 9 and check the previous elements, we see that all the elements are larger than 9, so we cannot form a subsequence. So the longest at this position is simply 1, that is the element 9 itself. So the answer for this is 1. In that way we check for 33. 33 is larger than 10 and 22, and so 1 and 2, either of these we can take, but 2 is the maximum, so I'll be taking 2, and the answer for this will be 2 plus 1, 3. That way we'll fill all of this array, and for this position, if we take, the answer will be 2, because the numbers less than 21 are 9 and 10, and the sequences, longest sequences for those are 1 and 1. So no matter what we take, whichever we take, the answer will be 2 here. And for this it will be 4, because all of these are less than 50, and 3 is the maximum, so the answer for this will be 3 plus 1, 4. That way we fill the table. 41, the numbers less than it are 22, 9, 10, 22, and the largest out of those is this, so the answer here is 4. this it will be 5, and for this it will be 6. So how we for this first we'll take the integer that is the size of the array, and we'll declare an array of size n, and also another array for storing the answer. We'll read the input and also initialize that array of answers. Let me make this a comment. And then for each position we'll be calculating the answer. And we need to see if that what we're doing here is we're checking all the previous positions, and if the number at that position is less than the number at the position that we are taking, that is if array of j is less than the value at I, and also we need the maximum. So answer of j is greater than answer of I, answer of I is equal to answer of j, answer of I plus plus. We need to increment it once because we have to count the element that we are considering also. Like we'll be taking the maximum from the previous positions and adding one here. Now what I need to do is take the maximum out of all the answers and print it. Let me just test this. The size of the array is 9, numbers are 10, 22, 9, 33, 21, 50, 41, 60, 80. Yeah, answer is 6.